In the headlines, Senate approves President Tinubu's request to appoint 20 special advisors. NLC, TUC suspend planned strike to reconvene June 19. Pregnant women in Niger decry lack of adequate medical personnel in Mina General Hospital. And on the foreign scene, evacuation underway after Nova Kakova Dam blast. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. And now the news in detail. Senate on Tuesday at plenary gave expeditious approval to a request by President Bola Tinubu to appoint 20 special advisors. Tinubu's request was earlier contained in a letter read by President of Senate Ahmed Lawan. In the request, Tinubu did not list the names of the 20 special advisors to be appointed. Lawan said it was of utmost urgency that the president has his team to work with. The request came a few days after Tinubu announced the appointment of Femi Gbajabiamila, outgoing Speaker of the House of Representatives, as his Chief of Staff, and George Akume, former Minister of Special Duties, as the Secretary Government of the Federation.
We feel that this is something that is of utmost urgency. He wants to appoint his advisors, but he needs our approval here. And therefore, we should do that for him to be able to probably today or tomorrow announce his appointees, special advisors. So those in favor of the motion moved by the Senate leader and seconded by the minority leader that the Senate approves the request of Mr. President C&C for his request on the 20 special advisors. Say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Moving on, organized labor on Monday night put off its planned strike over the removal of petrol subsidy by the federal government to allow for further consultations. The decision was announced after a long meeting between representatives of government and leaders of the Trade Union Congress and Nigeria Labour Congress. Both sides also agreed to establish a joint committee to review the proposal for wage increase and establish a framework and timeline for implementation. Kende Amodu reports.
The country continues to wade through the blowback of President Bola Tinubu's declaration on May 29 that fuel subsidy is gone. Monday's meeting was a follow-up to two earlier meetings on May 31 and June 4. At the end of the meeting, some resolutions were reached, including the establishment of a joint committee to review the proposal for wage increase and the review of the World Bank-financed cash transfer scheme to include low-income earners in the program.
As you are aware, the $800 million loan did not really capture the low-income government workers. So we basically will be talking about how to include them in that scheme.
What is paramount is that for now, the strike has been put on hold.
The parties agreed as follows. 1, the NLC is to suspend the notice of strike forthwith to enable further consultations.
Both sides have agreed to certain long-term processes: the revival of the compressed natural gas conversion program, the establishment of a framework for completion of the rehabilitation of the nation's refineries, and review of issues hindering effective delivery in the education sector. The federal government is also expected to provide a framework for the maintenance of roads and expansion of rail networks across the country.
And we from Labour, all we want to encourage government is to take this seriously, because this government is just coming. This may be the first agreement that is being signed by this government that was inaugurated on May 29 by the President Tinubu's administration. So I want us to commit to get these issues resolved as soon as possible.
It would seem the demand for the pump price of fuel to return to status quo has been shelved. Labour is even looking at cheaper alternatives of energy.
Deposit here can sustain the country for the next 500 years. You see, clean energy, eco-friendly, and cheaper. I think the whole battle we are having now is the issue of the cost being at 500. And by our last meeting, during Silver's time, we were talking about 90, 90 naira. So if this government achieves an option or alternative that is even under 90 or 120 or whatever, I think every one of you will be clapping for them.
Meanwhile, the TUC and NLC will continue to engage the federal government to ensure closure on these resolutions. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amudu, Trust TV News.
The hike in price of fuel has affected the cost of transportation and prices of goods in Maiduguri, Borno State. Our correspondent, Beatrice Kuruti, reports.
It's a free flow of traffic in Maiduguri metropolis as motorists move freely within major streets of the city. Today's free vehicular movement is connected to the hike in price of fuel. Some fuel stations are selling as high as 600 naira per litre. The increment has tripled transport fares, and some commercial tricycle riders said it is difficult to make profit daily. I took only 2 passengers to Bulunkutu this morning, and I couldn't get any more. After buying a litre of fuel for 650 naira, and now it has finished. And this is the government we have found ourselves. They are supposed to reduce it to 200 naira, and no passengers these days. People are at home because there is no money.
Something not far. They are collecting 200 naira before. They are paying 150 naira, now increased into 200 naira. So when you look all this matter, it's very difficult to poor people. You can see a police station, there is a fuel, and people are not going to affordable. Why? Because the price is too high for them. They are calling the federal government and the people of labor to look into this matter to make a solution, to make it easy for us, for the poor who are suffering in the society.
Prices of foodstuffs, as expected, have gone up.
Everything is very costly. Not like before, we are getting cost, but now the customer is. Some people are complaining. Like Garina is very costly. Before the Gari we are selling Gari inside market before the market burn. We are selling it 400 naira, but now a plate of Gari is 1,500 naira. The big one is 1,000 naira. People are complaining it's very costly.
Akwai wanda muna sai da shi da 33,000.
A bag of beans now goes for 40,000 naira, while rice was 32,000 naira, but now it's 36,000 naira. Changes is because drivers that transport our goods complained of fuel price. Some residents want the federal government to reverse the fuel price to 194 naira per litre. According to them, until this is done, Nigerians will continue to groan. Beatrice Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Pregnant women numbering over 300 on Monday decried the shortage of staff, inadequacy and also ill treatment at the Jummai Babangida Maternal and Neonatal Wing of Mina General Hospital. The women said they spend hours in the hospital without being attended to due to lack of manpower. The report.
Jummai Babangida Maternal and Neonatal Wing of Mina General Hospital reportedly receives not fewer than 300 pregnant women seeking antenatal services on a daily basis. But despite this huge population, the hospital reportedly has only 4 doctors, out of which 2 are consultants. Some of the women said they came to hospital as early as 5 a.m. without getting to see the doctor due to overpopulation, as the same doctors also needed to attend to those in labor wards.
The first time I came to register, it was very okay. But the issue that we have here, there are no doctors, because the last time I came is only 2 doctors and have to share us, and it was around after 2 to 3 I left home. So we are lacking doctors here actually, because they are not much. You hear today they will say it's only 2 doctors, so it's 40 people we are collecting. What will you do to other people that came? But if we have enough doctors, they'll be able to attend to everybody. We are all here for the same issue.
Doctor used to come from 12. If doctor comes from 12, it depends on the complaint that you lay to the doctor. Sometimes I will go home from here 1, sometimes 2.
One of the hospital staff who spoke on condition of anonymity told Trust TV that none of them had gone on leave in the last 1 year due to shortage of doctors and nurses at the hospital. Trust TV gathered that the hospital before now had 18 doctors but only boasts 6 now, while 2 are consultants who do not come to work every day. Efforts to get the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Muhammad Ghana, to speak was not successful. When our correspondent visited the ministry, he was said to be away on an engagement.
Zonfire State Governor Dauda Lawal has promised to assist the families of those killed in attacks on Jambako and Sekida villages in Maradun local government area of the state. He made the promise when he paid a condolence visit and sympathy visit to the affected communities. The governor, who was represented by his deputy, Mani Malam Mumini, said his administration is working hard to contain the spate of attacks in the state, adding that security operatives had been contacted and will deploy more personnel to the communities. He said the state government is working out modalities on how best to assist the vulnerable communities plagued by years of banditry and cattle rustling. Milling around politicians' houses or offices is a phenomenon that is gaining momentum among youths in Benue State instead of investing time and resources in productive ventures. Jimmy Adzande reports that residents are worried that if allowed to continue, the future of the youth will remain bleak. The report.
The time and material resources youth in Benue State are wasting milling around politicians is huge. Why is this so? A political scientist may have an answer.
But it speaks to the society we live in. You have society where a lot of young men are idle, and then, like they say, the idle hand, the idle mind, the devil's workshop. So these guys, some of them are actually educated, but they don't have jobs. So they flock politicians, as a way of getting crumbs from the table to make ends meet. So I won't totally condemn it, because I'll see them as the victims of the kind of society we have, the kind of government we have. So while I'm saying it's not the right way to self-develop, I'm looking at how do we create options? How do we give them options? How do we help them understand that, okay, this is not, if you say this is not the right way to go, what else? What should they do?
The trend has become common in both the urban and rural areas of Benue State.
Young people, precisely, should disabuse their minds from some of these unprofitable ventures they have indulged in, particularly referring to issues of politicking. It's not one is not saying they should not indulge into politics, but then they should be done honorably in such a way that it will not interfere with their own productive capacity, because they have to be productive at this age. Then you discover that the trend is that when you traverse our villages very early in the morning, when the young people are supposed to be in the farm, you see them sitting drinking joints, expecting politicians to come and give them money to drink.
The youth and their political principles are charged to re-engineer the political process for the good of the Nigeria's economy.
Some of them actually need guidance, to help them, give them the better option, like, okay, skill empowerment, skill development, create job opportunities, create business opportunities, so that they will live, their life won't revolve around following these people up and down and doing boy and doing yes men and becoming cyber talks to these people.
We need to join hands together to build the economy of this nation. It's not just about politics. When the politicians are doing their own, the youth also have to be equipped to support the politics. Governments and business owners or entrepreneurs come together to massively encourage the economy.
Youths are becoming more addictive to hanging around politicians, offices, or residences instead of investing their time into productive ventures like other youths are doing elsewhere.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break, we take a look at the business of recycling plastic waste. Do stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Trust News Update, a recap of our major stories. We told you that Senate approves President Tinubu's request to appoint 20 special advisors. We also told you that NLC, TUC suspend planned strike to reconvene June 19. Moving to other stories, following the proclamation of the 8th Kogi State House of Assembly on Tuesday via letter from Governor Yahaya Bello, the lawmaker representing Lokoja 11 State constituency, Alhaji Aliyu Umar Yusuf, emerged Speaker of the Assembly. Shortly after the letter of proclamation was read by the Clerk of the Assembly, Ahmed Chogudo, he administered oath of allegiance and membership on the 25 lawmakers to usher in the activities of the 8th Assembly. Thereafter, the lawmakers elected the principal officers who will pilot their affairs for the next 4 years. The newly elected principal officers of the Assembly include Honorable Enema Paul from the Kina 11 constituency as Deputy Speaker of the Assembly, Honorable Suleiman Abdulrazak as Majority Leader, Seidu Amodu, Deputy Majority Leader, and Asema Baba Haruna, Chief Whip, among others. In his maiden address, the newly elected Speaker, Aliyu Umar Yusuf, assures that the Assembly under his watch would make good laws that would benefit the state. At least 1 million plastic bottles are used every minute globally, raising environmental concerns. In Nigeria, millions of tons of plastic waste generated every year are being recycled, thereby creating wealth for those involved in the business. Jamil Mabai tells a story of youth participation in plastic waste business.
Nicely packed plastic waste have become a common sight in the streets of Katsina. Ali, a retail dealer, has set up a plastic waste collection point at strategic places, ready for pickup by other dealers. We buy from children who handpicked them for us or at any occasion. We buy anything that can be recycled and processed. We bring them here for processing before we hand them over to recycling companies.
Back to another finished product.
What started as a means of survival for one person has now grown together for 20 people in a state battling poverty and insecurity. Every minute, 1 million plastic bottles are sold globally, leading to a vast plastic waste explosion.
This only part of rubber water. You not talk of polythene bags, polythene sachet water, and what have you. If you talk about that, you see thousands, millions tons are being used as debris, as plastic debris annually. So the worst part of the plastic waste is that it affects our farming system because it kills the microorganisms that live in our farms. Without microorganisms, you can never get a nutritional soil that will give you good yield during the harvest.
Millions of tons of plastic waste end up in our oceans, rivers, and landfills every year. Ali's business is turning plastic waste into wealth. His success highlights the growing demand for sustainable solutions and the important role small businesses can play in creating a more sustainable future. The leftover plastic waste are left on the soil, impacting the soil negatively since they hardly decompose. If people get the right awareness, they will start packaging plastic waste for pickup. At the end, it might generate income for them, no matter how little. Once seen as just a pile of mere rubbish, the rise in the indiscriminate and the careless use of plastic is gradually becoming an epidemic, not only to humans, but the environment. Jamil Mobay, Trust TV News, Katsina.
Away from Nigeria, Ukraine and Russia have accused each other of destroying the Novakakova Dam in the Russian-controlled part of the Kherson region. Ukraine's military administration has told people to be ready to evacuate from several villages on the right bank of the Dnipro River due to a high risk of flooding. Meanwhile, the Russian-installed administration in the region plans evacuations from 3 Kremlin-controlled districts near the dam. Ukraine's atomic agency says the situation at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is under control after the dam blast. President Volodymyr Zelensky says the destruction of the dam confirms that Russian forces must be expelled from every corner of Ukraine. And finally, in sports, 2023 Abuja Women Golf Day teed off with fanfare as over 50 women gathered to display their golf skills. Trust TV's Adeni Ajishafe has more.
Large turnout of women in the early hours of Tuesday in their red and white colors for 2023 golf event to celebrate women across the globe. While reuniting and catching up at the golf course entrance, action was also on in the event that had 9 holes to play for by the lady golfers. The eventful golf day had lady golfers playing alongside caddies, with the team being the best version of yourselves. Caddies were allowed to participate to showcase their talents in the elite sport. The aim of the event is to interact and impact positively while reconnecting through golf. As lady captain of IBB International Golf and Country Club, Folashade Olateru, the vice lady captain, Julie Donnelly, and the competition secretary, Jane Ahmed, shared more on the event.
The program itself is to celebrate the lady golfers all over the world. And as we are celebrating it, we empower and we socialize together.
Here in IBB, we're encouraging
as many young girls as possible to come out and play golf as professionals like their male counterparts. And as a matter of fact, we're going to be sponsoring quite a few of them this time around.
It's a day to reunite, reconnect, and to network. Some of us don't even know other people.
An event with no winner category. It is a way to also catch up by some women who have been out of the sport for long while appreciating caddies for what they do at golf course. Former Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong joins other men to show support and also promote women golf in Nigeria, as caddies were seen showing off their golfing prowess in the course. And Natu Timothy, a caddy, expressed joy for being given the chance to play golf with lady golfers.
Caddies are also players. If you play and you leave them, you know what they do if you are a golfer. If you ignore caddies, sometimes I don't want to say what they do. Sometimes your ball is there, they'll tell you the ball is missing. The ball is missing and you lose a lot of things. So it's something that you carry everybody along. As you play, they are your caddies, you must also encourage them. That's the only time they support you. If you get your ball lost, they will get you everywhere. If you are losing strength, they will encourage you.
I learn by watching them. Sometimes I play a caddy for pros. I see how they used to swing, and sometimes I go one side, go to the range, and practice on my own.
The Women in Golf event will be sustained to build capacity in women golf development in Nigeria, with the aim of reaching top in golf sports in the world. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
And with that, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.